Hello there, fellow air gaugers. Well, it's been a while since I've had a video, mainly because I've just been quite busy. Uh, this little railroad here is becoming quite popular, and I've been busy just about every day here trying to keep up with things. We're now running every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., except for August. We're taking that month off for a very special reason. And today we just had our first school group here of 40 children, and they used our new picnic area that we put in going up the main track. So things are really taking off here with the J&L narrow gauge, and I like to think that a lot of you there on YouTube have had a hand in helping make this successful. So thanks everyone for all the support you've given us over the years. So, what's going on here today? Well, 58's cooling herself down after our run. We normally don't do a weekday run, but they wanted to come on a Thursday, so we figured we'd do it on a Thursday. We don't like to run during the week because that's usually when all the neighbors are around, and I just don't want to, push the issue with making too much smoke and noise and all that. But on the weekends, there's no one around here, and that's a little different. So what's going on here? Yeah, we got about 20 pounds on the gauge. We got enough water in there. When I shut the locomotive down, I usually turn the injector on to let it go and fill up until the injector cuts out on its own. If you'll notice, the gauge is here on the back head instead of being over there. We found that this was a little bit better for everyone to see. Not so easy for me to see, but it's better for the firemen to see. I think I'm going to put the other gauge up front again because I like having one up there. I also want to put another sight glass up front as well, so that the engineer can see both as well as the fireman, and without craning my neck to see things. So what have we done on the locomotive lately? I don't know if I covered it in a recent video or not, but the duplex pump's been installed. It now just works for pulling water in from a tote, and then it'll put it into the saddle tank. This eventually will be set up as a boiler feed pump, so that it, in conjunction with the high pressure Penberthy, can both put water into the boiler. The Penberthy works fine, but on these hot days, water in the tank gets up over 100, 110 degrees in there, and it's getting towards the limit of what the Penberthy wants to handle water temperature wise. But heck, this thing will put water in up to 180, 190 degrees, so it doesn't care. There will also be some sort of a feed water device, and I think that's probably the reason we haven't actually plumbed this in yet as a feed water pump, because I'm still working on an idea for what I'm going to use for a feed water heater. As for anything else on the locomotive here in the cab, we haven't really changed much, and didn't really need to change much because everything is working pretty well. About the only thing we had a leak on today was the packing in the throttle valve, which is just a matter of taking these nuts off, pulling this back, add another loop of packing, and then tightening it back up. We're kind of at the end of travel right there. Other than that, she ran absolutely flawless as normal. It's a very reliable little locomotive. So, well, let's look around the grounds a little bit. So, still working on the idea for the engine house in the boxcar. We have some concrete to pour here at some point here in the near future, which will be the new steam up pad. And then, I don't know if you can see where the rails are up here, so this pad will be up in the air a little bit, and then tie into that track. And then, if you can see here, the orange marks, I just put these marks down. This is going to be the storage track for the other porters. They're going to be kept on this track. And then here's the lead, and then the lead's going to cut across at an angle and then run over to the property line, and then both of these switches will be left-hand switches coming in. I'm doing that instead of running that tail track in this direction, I'm running it that way, give me a little bit more space over here, so it'll give me this extra space, since we don't have a lot of space here to work with. And a little better view. I've got the crane sitting there, getting ready to start laying out ties and rail for the new switch. As you can see, we took the cab off of 57, sitting there. At some point, we're going to take the boiler off of 57. We have 7 tubes to put in it, and then we're going to do a hydro test, and then put the boiler back on the frame. And while we have that boiler off, continue working on the running gear and frame, and maybe we can get a first steam up before the end of the season on that if we actually get working on it. If not, I'll work on it over the winter, and then it'll be next spring. But those locomotives will be, over here on this track. So there's a little green thing sitting here. This is our newest rail car. This is a 4-wheel equipment flat car that uses journal boxes from a Brookville locomotive and a set of 4 brand new wheels that we acquired at a pretty good price. And the purpose of that car mainly is so that we can take that little crane that we bought over there and mount that crane on that car. So we basically have a rail mounted crane that we can use here for all sorts of things, building track. If we want to work on locomotive, we park the crane here, and if we've got something right here, you can lift it. All sorts of things. Putting the signals up, that'll be a great use for it. So once I get that car done, and the big holdup on that is wheel sets and the axles, then we'll mount the crane on it, and then we'll have that crane on the rails. So what else is going on here? It's worth discussing. If you notice, we have a little dwarf signal there. So that dwarf signal will govern equipment coming out of the engine house lead, because as you can see, the switch is around the bend. You can't really tell how it's lined. That'll be another visual indication of how that switch is lined, and help prevent run-through switches. And then we have a foundation here. Now this is going to be a 2-headed searchlight signal with the style that has the offset heads that would have been used in an intermediate signal. And it's going to sit here and basically also be a switch position indicator, just like the dwarf signal. So if you're coming up the hill and this is green, then you know that switch is lined for you. Now, eventually, when we have the signals up at Bance, if you're coming up the hill and then this signal is approach medium or yellow over green, that means you're lined to the left at Bance into the siding. Or if it's just green over red, that means you're lined straight. If it's red over red, that means that the switch up here is lined against you. So you'll have 3 different indications that you can get on this signal. And that'll help promote a little safer operation, and also give the engineer a little bit more information as to which way he's going to be going up the hill. And then, of course, you can see down there our semaphore is in place and installed, and we're slowly painting all of our various signal components black, which is Erie Railroad practice. There's another concrete foundation down there. That's the foundation for that 3-headed searchlight, which is going up the hill at Bance. And over in the standard gauge department, one of our volunteers has taken it upon himself to start working on the 70-tonner, and has done a pretty good job repainting it. And in keeping with the whole steel mill motif, it's a Rust-Oleum paint job, which is just about as complicated of a paint job that you would find in a steel mill. But she looks great, and we're going to start working on the other side next. And here's the mast for that new signal I was telling you about. So I've got to put 3 holes in it, and for the conduit, and then mount the clamps or the brackets for the heads, and get all that done while it's sitting down here. And then I can bring that crane down and pick this up and set it in place. So hopefully it won't be too long before we get that done. And in the 43-inch gauge department, another one of our members has been working on the shunter and putting some new windows in. So we have 2 new windows in. 2 other windows have been boarded up. We've taken those home to replicate, and then we'll have later on this summer we'll have a couple more new windows put in. And I think we're also going to get a new door made for it. So at some point this thing will have all new windows and doors. And it's also, she's going to get a paint job here before too long as well. All right, and heading down to the new passenger platform, which everybody loves this. This is great. This is the best decision we've ever made with putting this platform in here. It makes it very easy to handle our customers and guests. We just pull up here and stop, and you load the train. We've modified the end of the caboose so that our ticket sellers can just sit on the platform and then sell tickets right here at the countertop. So I mean, this works wonderful. And then on sunny days, we'll put up a 10 by 10 little portable pop-up tent right here, so you get a little bit of shade in this area. Otherwise, the sun's beating down at you. So let's take a look inside the caboose. What's going on here? So we got some new merchandise in, some J&L narrow gauge hats in 4 different styles. We also have our traditional shirts, and let's see. Oh, we got some magnets as well, and a couple other little items that we can sell. Oh, and yeah, down here, these mugs have come in. So there's one side. Now that is our, once I get them made up, that's going to be our blue flags. It's based upon a picture of a blue flag that I saw that said narrow-minded men at work. And so we changed it to narrow gauge, and had these mugs made up. So I think they came out real good. There's another mug design that we're going to be doing pretty soon as well, and I think it'll be equally as nice as those. One other thing here is that we will attempt to sell ice cream here at some point. And so I bought a little chest freezer for that. It's also good for putting ice cubes and all that in. The solar installation actually has enough power to run that most days. Now today, it's pretty overcast out there, so we're not making hardly anything for power. But fortunately, we had enough power to run all the lights and the signal. That signal system takes a lot of power, because all those bulbs are the old style bulbs that take a lot of wattage. So I'm going to try to convert some of those over to LEDs where possible. So at any rate, that's basically what we have going on here. So all during the month of July, we're doing our steam locomotive experiences from, well, every Sunday, and starts at 8 a.m., goes about 2 p.m. They cost $258, and you get to come here, and we will teach you how to fire and operate that locomotive. And then you can run it up and down our 6% grade as much as you would like in that time period. Go to our website, youngstownsteel.org, to register for any of the dates. I think we have every Sunday available in July. As I said, we're taking August off, and then we'll be putting up dates for September, October, and some other events that we plan to be doing later on in the fall. But yeah, if you can make it out to Youngstown, come on out and see what we have going on here. One locomotive running. Going to have 2 locomotives running before too long. We have a 3rd locomotive there waiting in the wings for some work. Don't you think that thing is just going to sit there forever? No, you know, this is addicting. Once you work on one, it's like Lay's potato chips. Once you work on one, you just can't stop. And that brings up, there's another one out in Colorado. I wonder about that one. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that again in another video pretty soon. All right, everyone. Have a good day, and come on out to Youngstown.